Alright. See that lady over there? She's trying to get people to fill up the sign. These are the same people, so I don't think we'll get very far. Let's wait until that guy leaves. We'll ride by. She may or may not lift me. I'm going to try to come at this a different way. There was a Muslim table over here earlier, but they just kept to themselves, so I didn't feel right bothering them. I thought about it. I wanted to ask them what happens to apostates. You'll find websites online saying that nothing really happens to them, then you'll find ones that say that it does. It really depends on how you interpret it, or how literal you take the Quran. But I should have approached that today, but I didn't. But I'm going to see what's going on here, see if I can get something. I think they know who I am. Look, a few people outside wearing masks. Aren't they safe? Alright, well, she's doing it. She goes up and greets them, shakes their hand, introduces herself, gets the good rapport going, and tries to engage them in this thing about who's your inspiration, blah blah. And they, I don't know if they wait for you to ask questions or they slide in the religious aspect and go into their church after at some point. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever find out though, because I think they know who I am, so I can't play it the way I want to. So, slim pickings over here on campus, clearly. Back in the 90s when I was here, the preachers out here like all the time. Like 1 or 2 days a week there weren't preachers down here, but usually there were. There was always material. Alright. If they know who I am, I don't think we're going to get much material. Probably in the places. Because I don't be boring. You guys aren't used to seeing boring stuff from me, I hope. Hopefully the bill will come back out. So class is just let out. Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, that lady right there, that poster. Okay, can I give you one of these?
What's that?
You want to write on our chalkboard?
What's it for?
Writing goals that we have. Working towards.
Just learn about what everyone's up to on campus.
Okay. What's the point? No, well...
What goals are you working towards?
Oh, it's...
Yeah, so we're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Right.
But
So what happens when after someone does that?
after someone does what?
Right on the board.
I don't know, nothing. Nothing. If
You
you
can write
don't,
down your name and your number if you want. You
yeah,
don't
and we
have
can text
For
you with
what?
like activities and stuff that we got going on throughout
Oh.
the week and stuff like that. Or you can just write your name or whatever you want on the board, and you can just leave.
Okay. So this is to get people to come over
Just
and
talk to
engage with you.
Exactly.
Then you
Then we try to pitch
Then
them on
you-
the gospel.
pitch them
Oh yeah.
the religion. Got
Absolutely, yeah. But we don't have to. We don't have to have that second part if you don't want to. It's not like a non. It's like
it.
a non.
Of course not.
Yeah. Unless you
But
want me to
it
pitch
comes
you.
in to play with most people.
I can pitch you on the gospel if you want.
Could you?
Yeah. For
Okay. Why should I care about the gospel?
Sure. The gospel. So are you a Christian?
I'm not.
Okay. Have you heard of Jesus Christ?
I would have to be retarded to not have heard about.
That's understandable. I'm just trying to get a baseline here.
Okay.
So
I'm not retarded. Yeah, we're on that baseline right
I
now.
don't think so.
Okay.
You're good. So, what have you heard about Jesus Christ?
It's a very vague question. I can answer that any which way I want to, I suppose.
Okay.
He's a character in a storybook.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. The storybook known as the Bible.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. So we believe that Jesus Christ was a real person who lived on the earth.
Why? Why?
Why was he a real
Why do you believe he was a real person?
Faith plays a big part of it.
Do you think faith is a good way of arriving at the truth?
I think faith.
What if someone had faith that he didn't exist, and then
That's
but
true.
you had faith that he did exist?
I guess my faith would just have to overpower his, right?
Would that be reasonable?
If you really dig, if he can kind of have a more logical argument, not an
Okay, so
article,
not
but
faith
an
then.
emotional.
So then logic. So not faith.
I said not logical and emotional.
No way!
Logic can never
What
be
do you
used
love about
for
that?
obtain the evidence of existence of something, right? You can't use your emotions or your feelings, right?
What do you want to do with something?
When it pierces your heart.
Your heart's a muscle that pumps blood. Now you're talking metaphorically.
I'm not a smart guy, man. I'm gonna be honest. I just believe in Jesus Christ, and I know that He rescued me from my deepest, darkest sorrows.
How do you know? How do you know that?
Clinical as well.
I get pretty deep into it, but all I really want to say is that I have been in the absolute chains of hell, like literally shackled by chains of hell.
I don't know what that. You're speaking metaphorically, so I don't know how to understand that.
Is it a metaphor though?
I mean, hell is a fictitious place that we don't know about. So when you speak about hell, I'm not going to think you're talking about a real hell.
Okay, I've felt agony, I've felt grief, I've felt
Okay,
sorrow.
that's something I can understand because those are real human feelings.
Yeah.
Right, but what makes you think that Jesus had anything to do with that?
Because I kept feeling those, and I kept feeling those, and I kept feeling those emotions until it was the chance when I had humbled myself enough to allow Jesus Christ.
Humble yourself. What does that mean? Humble yourself.
That's so cute.
There's humility by condemnation,
shirt is
which is
so
when my
good.
actions, like I literally had something else happen to me that humbled me, where my pride and my ego, it dissipated.
Well, we have a lot of
And it's just drugs do that?
If you guys
It
are
was a
interested,
drug, actually,
you can write down
that
your
did
number.
that.
Your name and
Okay.
we can let you
So
know.
the combination of the two,
Okay, so you were a drug addict.
I was a drug addict. Yeah.
Oh, now it's all coming to light. You know, I've seen a lot of times where people are drug addicts and they give it up for religion, but it's just one crutch for another.
Yeah.
You see, drugs are bad. We can see the bad effect they have in your life, and it's more drastic and more apparent than religion.
Would you say religion adds more light?
Can't religion just have as much a detrimental effect to your life than like drugs? Because
I think it's just a trade-off, right? You just gotta pick one evil over the other.
why not just pick either and look at the world and understand it the way it is?
It's like a nihilistic.
Why not just look at the beauty of the world without having to just assume something about it that you don't know?
I think when
Is that possible?
for me, yeah, if it's possible for you, great, but to me, it just doesn't.
It's not possible. You don't think so. So you have to believe in something that you can't quite say is true.
I do have to believe in something, and I can show that it's true.
Oh, you can?
Have you read the Book of Mormon ever?
Oh, the Book of Mormon.
You ever read it?
Who was the guy who wrote that?
So it was actually written by a prophet Mormon back in like 500 BC to 500 CE time.
He was here in the U.S., right?
So no, that was actually the prophet Mormon compiled a set of scriptures.
Okay.
And when he compiled those, you know, different books, Alma, Messiah, Gilman, all that stuff, it was written in a language that we don't understand because it was Native American, whatever. The gold plates. Have you heard of gold plates?
No.
Okay. So the gold plates was the record of the people in the Americas, the Native Americans, around the time that Jesus was here. Okay. At least that's what we believe. Okay. And
Here
then,
in the U.S.? Here in the U.S.?
yeah, Native Americans, Native American Indians, and so they came over from Israel from the, when the fall of Babylon. Was it Babylon?
Jerusalem was destroyed, and God said, "Hey, you should get out because I don't want everyone to be destroyed." He had this family leave, and they came, and it's their stories of them and their descendants, and it's just really cool.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of history.
And then through the
How
power.
much of it is true compared to fiction? Because a lot of stories written back then, they were made with
It's true.
fact and
This
fiction.
is everyone's journals. This is real, true, actual events that happened.
So we like the alphabet.
And then the prophet you were talking about, he just compiled everyone's records. They were written on these gold plates just because that wouldn't get wrecked over time. That wouldn't get destroyed.
Okay.
And he just compiled them and condensed it down, and it's just their lives and their stories and their faith in God, and it's really cool.
So that says that makes the assertion that there is a God. Right.
It is only through the power of God that these records, which were in a language that we don't understand and in a place and in a manner that God talked through a holy prophet.
So you don't
to
think
bring
someone
them
could have
about.
just written that book?
No.
Why not?
Can I answer this?
Sure.
So at the end of this book, it makes a promise. Can I read it to you?
Makes a promise?
Mm-hmm. It tells how you can know. It says, Moroni 10, 5. And it says, behold, I would exhort you that when you should read these things, and exhort you should like, just ask, that if you should read these things, if it be wisdom of God, that you should read them, that you remember how merciful the Lord hath been unto the children of men, from the creation of Adam, even down until the time that you shall receive these things, and ponder it in your hearts. And when you shall receive these things, I would exhort you that if you would ask God, the eternal Father, in the name of Christ, these things are not true. And if you shall ask with a sincere heart, with real intent, make faith in Christ, you manifest the truth of it unto you. By the power of the Holy Ghost, you know the truth of all things.
Well, it says ask with sincerity, but if you don't believe in it, then you can never ask with sincerity. So how is an unbeliever supposed to accept that?
That's a really good question. I think for me personally,
There you go.
the answer is just a genuine desire to know. Like if
Desire
you
to
don't
know
believe-
what?
Desire to know the truth. Desire to know if it's right.
What do you think the definition of truth is?
Truth?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
The definition of truth. I'll tell you if you want.
Oh, yeah, tell me what you think.
Truth is a degree to which a statement corresponds with reality.
Okay.
So the assertion there that there's a God, how true it is depends on how much it corresponds with reality.
Gotcha.
So if there's nothing in there but just a promise and asking people who really believe to ask, when you don't give an avenue for people who don't believe to find out, then are we really arriving at the truth, or are you really just peddling to people who already believe?
Right.
I think you have to ask.
Yeah. So
Ask
this
what?
book testifies all about Jesus Christ and our
Okay.
Heavenly Father. And when you're asking if this book is true, if it's, you know,
Well,
if
if
these
the
things
things
are
inserted
real,
in it are true.
right. It's really asking, is there a God? Is Jesus Christ
sure.
real?
Right.
And so I have followed this promise. I have said, you know what, I really want to know for myself, is this true? Is this all some made up lie? Like, is there a God? Does
Right.
he love me?
Right.
And so I have prayed.
Okay, but praying is just like talking to yourself, thinking you're talking to God. How is an unbeliever supposed to arrive at the same conclusion? Because if you just talk about, it sounds like you're saying how you feel about the book, and it made you believe it or whatever, or made you believe it more strongly, something like
I
that.
said in there, if you ask with a sincere heart, with real intent,
Ask what? Ask who?
ask God.
But
So
if,
talk
you,
to
but if
him.
an unbeliever doesn't believe
And
in
you have
God,
to believe for a second.
exactly. See, so how? Where's the avenue for the unbeliever?
Do you believe that there's like a universe, like there's a higher power, that there's anything out there?
The word higher is like it's relative. It can be something different to me or you, so I would never use that in referencing something because I can never know what that means. So I can't.
Yeah. I think that there's a greater force out there. Right?
So you just switch higher for greater,
Yeah.
and it's like the same thing.
Yeah, I believe that there's a God.
Okay, but what about the person who doesn't? How can they arrive at the same conclusion? Right? Because they can't use their feelings because they don't believe in it. They're not going to pray because they don't feel like there's anything to pray to. So,
But what if you did pray?
but it would just be you talking to yourself. So what sense would that make? Because when it goes back to truth, because the degree to which something corresponds to reality. In order to say that's true, like you guys probably believe that's true, and that there is a God, and the assertion there is a God, you think it's true. But how well does it correspond to reality? You have to be able to show it to someone who is an unbeliever. Because then, if you can't, then you can't really say it carries much truth.
Yeah.
Because the unbeliever has nothing to go by
So
other than
so that's why I think that God has restored these texts in these latter days. Why He's allowed the Book of Mormon to be translated so that we can hear it is because it is literal proof when you read it that it is not possible for a man to have written that without the hand of God in whatever the time
But
frame and
if I
whatever
ask
the
you
education
how,
that he wrote it.
if I ask you how it's not possible, how would you even respond to that?
Joseph Smith was a kid. He was
Wasn't he a
14
crook?
14 years old.
You want to write your name and your number?
I would
He
not
had
know.
no education.
No
Okay.
education. He
No
had third
education.
grade
Just
education.
a farm boy. Yeah, third grade.
Third grade education.
Just a farm boy who worked
So if you
really
think
hard
it's
for his
a kid with a third grade education could have written that in 90 days, then by all means, more power to you.
So do we know that he wrote that and other people didn't assist? I mean, because we don't know the authors of the Christian Bible. They just have names of different parts of it, right? But we don't know who actually wrote it. Like, do we know that he actually wrote all of that? And even if you did, you're back to.
I mean, you can do like the history and the research. I would encourage you to do the history and the research yourself to find out the answers for yourself.
So if an unbeliever comes to you and says, "I don't believe in God, show me why I should believe in God," all you would say is just research it for yourself. You wouldn't really have an answer.
I would pray with them, but it wouldn't really mean anything.
But it wouldn't.
to
Yeah,
them.
it wouldn't mean anything to them because they don't actually believe. Because
Can I ask you a question?
Well, let me just finish one point.
Okay.
You're trying to say, well, how would it believe in God? Read the book, investigate for yourself. But the real issue, God damn that. But the real issue is, we don't even know what God is. Like, what is that? Like, can you even define what it is without saying what you think it's done, or using words that are nonsensical? Like, because in order for us to actually believe something, we have to know what it is. So, do you even know what one is?
God is our loving Heavenly Father, and we are His children.
Okay, loving, an action, Father, role.
We are literally
Heavenly.
all spirit children of
But see, none of those things really tell us anything about it. Like, I want to know what it is,
where it lives.
He's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. He lives on the
How
other
it
side of the veil. He
exists?
lives in heaven.
How it exists, how it does what it does. Like, we don't
Do
know
you think?
anything about
Do
it.
you think that we know everything right now?
But we don't know anything about it.
We don't know anything about
We
anything.
do know that he has a body of flesh and bone, just like we do. He's
Is
a
it what?
real, he has a physical body.
He has a physical body. Okay, how do you know that?
We were formed in his own image.
No, but how
And
do you,
because people have seen him. When Joseph Smith prayed, he said, which church is true? God and Jesus appeared to him. They had real bodies.
okay, but why do you believe that? Why do you believe? So you believe he had a real body because someone else said so, but we have nothing to test the fact that he is real and has a body. I'm assuming like ours. We have nothing to really show that that's true. So should we really believe in it if we don't? Because if this thing can do things like create universe and stuff like that, that's like a tall order. That's like a lot of magic power.
He'd have to be pretty awesome.
Why should anyone believe that that's actually possible and someone's done it?
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure.
Do you want to believe, or are you trying to catch us?
But, well, it doesn't matter whether I want to believe. I'll tell you what I do want to believe. I want to believe in the truth. I want to believe in reality. I love reality. I want a very intimate relationship with it. I don't like to be wrong.
That's awesome.
And I don't think that's enough people abide by that. So when you ask me, do I want to believe? I want to acknowledge reality as it shows itself to me.
Okay.
So unless you can define what this God thing is and scientifically show that it exists, then it's just a imaginary thing, and I have no reason to believe in imaginary things because then I wouldn't be in reality.
Yeah. Faith is things which are hoped for that are not seen, and it's hard to exercise faith. But if you have even the smallest particle, even a mustard seed of faith, I promise you, if you exercise that, it'll grow into a magical force.
Well, that leads me back to the thing of if someone has faith that you're wrong, who's right? Who can determine? Because you both have faith.
Mm-hmm. Do you have faith that you're right and that there isn't a God?
Well, I have no reason to believe in one. So I don't have faith that there is none. I just don't believe in one. It's like I don't believe in Tinkerbell or the Tooth Fairy, right? It's the same thing. There's nothing showing that any one of those things are true. Yeah. So I mean, I would believe in a God, tomorrow if actually I knew what one is and we had a reason to believe it. Asking me to just research for myself and read a passage that tells you to ask yourself or to talk to yourself, pretend you're talking to this God, isn't going to achieve that for the unbeliever. We need more than that. We need to have a reason to think that you're telling the truth.
Yeah. Clearly, you're a super smart guy. Like, your IQ is definitely up here as compared to mine. I just want to let you know that God does love you, and He is watching out for you.
But telling me that doesn't mean anything to me because I don't believe in it. So what's the purpose of
read the Book of Mormon, and you can kind of do some, like I said, do some research and study on your own. But read the Book of Mormon.
The history in this is fascinating, even if you don't think that God existed. And these are just people's journals. This is just what happened to them. It's their own experiences, and it's really cool. And
there's some crazy awesome doctrine, crazy awesome truths. Like if you read that, you will find some stuff in there. It is true. And how do you know if it's true or not? The Spirit will manifest itself in you.
I don't know what spirit is. So that doesn't help me at all.
No, you're good.
Well,
hey, what was your name?
Think of a
What was your name?
Ted.
Ted. Have a good one,
Okay,
Ted.
we're going to
Appreciate
give
it.
this to you.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear that? Okay. Well, we can meet up and talk this sometime later if you want to write down your name and number. But we got to talk to some other people because that's just what
Gotta
our
get
job
the
is here.
susceptible people. I got it.
Okay. Well, we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks
If
for
you would love to talk
talking.
more about this, you can write your number down. If not, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. They didn't know who I was.
So it's like they'll live, man.
Alright guys, there you have it. I think the lady pulling people in, I think I've seen her before, the last one, but she didn't say anything. But they didn't really know who I was, so I was able to take a different angle to that. So what they do is they get you to write the thing and they get you engaged in it, and then
and then they try to spark some more conversation, and then they take your name and number down so they can harass you or try to get you to come to their religious activities and stuff, and then eventually their church, and then you pay money and become part of their church, and it's just a way to get young people in there, and it's not very honest. As you can see, I have apparently I have a very IQ, at least compared to that guy. Why is he out there? He's only out there to be a bot. He's a bot. They're both bots. Will Sneeple calls them bots? Okay, they're bots. So, I hope you guys liked it. I tried to carry it on as long as I could, but eventually she realized that she wasn't going to get anywhere. She's like, "Can you move it along, please?" I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to be rude and keep on pressing. I thought I got enough material out of them. Apparently, I'm going to go ahead and freely admit that I don't know the Mormon book front and back. I bet some of you who are watching this do, and then you'll probably educate me in the comments. That's great. Anytime I can learn more about the crap that came out of their mouth, I'll try to retain that information as best I can. Yeah, it's a beautiful part of history. Well, I'm sure there is, but is it really worth the read? Can I get my morals and my history from better places? And not a book written with a lot of fiction and only a little bit of realism in it? Which I don't understand. So, but you see how I started off. I hooked him right in. You know how I do it, guys. You know how I roll. I want to do video on campus for. I want to make a sign that says, "I can guess your pronouns." What do you guys think? I can guess your pronouns, and then just kind of have conversations with people. What do you guys think? Let me stop here for a second. So I thought about doing like a sign that says, "I already know your pronouns." I just don't know how this town is. This is Gainesville, Florida. I don't know how this town is on the whole pronoun thing. So I don't know, but I'm thinking about doing that. Tell me what you guys think about that, of me doing that. These were very limited. I mean, the lady seemed to know more about the Mormon book than the guy did. So he relied on her for information, but apparently that's all she knows about. If you try to engage her more, she's not going to know what's going on, because they're just kids who really aren't capable of having conversations like this. But who we fooling? Who is capable, right? Like, I don't care how much of a seasoned person you get in front of me. Alright guys, hope you liked it. I'm going to go get my chocolate shake right now. They're way too expensive, but I like them anyway. Peace.